Today, I sit down with the founder of Syra Coffee, Yassir Rais, and we met up right here in his roastery in Barcelona. He shares his story from studying architecture in Paris, discovering specialty coffee, and how that led to later starting a coffee business in his hometown of Barcelona and eventually scaling up to 43 locations across Spain. Currently, Barcelona, Madrid, Valencia, San Sebastián, Sevilla, Girona, Malaga, and more to come, I'm sure. Yassir also touched on balancing ambitions as a business owner, how to leverage other roles in your business sooner than later, and equally essential lessons learned by actually doing shifts in your own coffee shop, especially early on. All right, let's get right into it with Yassir Rais. Finally, I'm here on like a calm production day because most of the time I come, it's during some sort of event, party / coffee competition. Today's chill, but I see the coffee roasting. I hear the beans dropping, smelling all the roasty flavors. So,
well, the reality is that we didn't made like a lot of events here. We did 3.
I've come to all of them.
And then let's say it's calmer, but it's pretty busy in general.
Right.
Because like everything happened. Like now we are like in the training room part. We have like a couple of meeting rooms, but most of the activity happens here. This is like the headquarters of all our operations, etc. happens from here. I mean, we took this place because of the roasting facilities we needed, and then we expanded like stock facilities, offices, etc.
And what was your first thoughts on choosing this part of Barcelona compared to I think anyone who comes to Barcelona and starts to visit the coffee roasteries, they'll notice quite a few of them are over in Poblenou or Saint Martí on the other side of town. But you're maybe one of the first over on this side.
When you roast coffee, you need space. So this is an important part. And space, it's not coming because of the machine itself, but because of the stock of coffee you need, like green coffee. So this is the main reason like any roaster aims to take like a big place. So in Barcelona, as you say, there's like not a lot of areas with spaces like this. One is Poblenou, then you have a little bit like more on the edge like Sant Adrià. We begin like roasting, and I think you came to the first roastery just in the annex of our first coffee shop, and it became very small, like very quickly.
Where that was in Gracia neighborhood?
Gracia, in the city center. It was, I mean, I don't know how I thought it was a good idea, because I think our like goal was like to stay like in the city center, right? But then when looking for spaces, we were like, from the city center, Hospitalet and Poblenou are nearly the same really in terms of time and of commuting. Hospitalet was offering, we can talk hours of gentrification, architecture, urbanism, and for us, Poblenou was like a little bit on the limit on our price we could afford, on the availability on spaces, and then, Hospitalet was like a logic choice because of its connection with the port, with the airport, with the facilities, with the availability and price too.
So we'll talk a little bit more about design and urbanism and architecture. I'm really excited to get into more of that with you because that was, I think, one of our first common connections. Yep. But before we get to that, especially to give people listening a little bit more context, I'd love to hear what would you say is your main role here at Syra today?
Wow.
And what would be a day in the life? If people ask me that, I know there's never a typical day in the life, but if you were to kind of put together an average of what do you do on a day-to-day with Syra?
Look, this week I'm a kind of firefighter, let's say, in terms of depending of the week and of the day. But the typical day starts, I come to the roastery like 8:30. The roasting team and the production team is probably just copying the day before like roasting. So I cop a little bit with them, and then is working with the teams we have in the company. So we have a finance team, a people's team, a coffee team, as I mentioned, and an operation team. So I don't like the word supervising because it means I'm leading that teams, but it's working with all of them. What I enjoy the most, of course, it's on new things. So new shops, new coffees coming, new campaigns we could do, new partnerships, etc. So there's always something to do, and I'm there. So it's never a never-ending really day.
I can imagine. How much coffee do you drink per day?
Look, we were talking about just having a kind of detox during a day or two. So normally I think like between the cuppings and the coffees, like 2 or 3 per day. This is really the limit. Like 3, it's a little bit too much.
I think we might see that more and more as a trend for a lot of these coffee people who've been, I noticed for myself a little bit more on the health side maybe, but drinking coffee for now 10 years. Do you ever have a break or think, hey, I want a day off of coffee? No, it's a daily drink.
Sí.
So then your body gets used to just accumulating all this caffeine. It's nice to take a few days just to...
Look, we had a managers' day last week when we gathered like all the managers from Spain here in the office just downstairs, and I was talking about how lucky we are of roasting and selling this product, which is because I was like betting to everyone, like I mean I was telling them, do you know? I mean, I bet you don't know any person that takes a coffee per week. So whether you take 2 or 3 per day or you don't drink coffee. And this is amazing as a product. I mean, we take these as a normal thing, but it's not. So it's really, I mean, we could enter to know if it's a drug or not. But I mean, this allows you like really to take breaks a little bit of 2 or 3 days and just to miss it.
For sure.
Really.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Speaking of early days, speaking of, getting into coffee, I also want to hear a little bit of your story of how you got into, maybe your first entry into drinking coffee. It's a pretty casual drink for many people around the world, but also specialty coffee. And
of course.
How did you enter into specialty, and how did that lead up to what you're doing as a professional today?
Sí. I mean, I entered like in specialty coffee thanks to architecture. So I'm a former architect and I did my studies in Paris. So the first time I tried the coffee, it was because I just entered a place called Fondation Café, which is like closed now, a very small location. It was one of my main reference when founding Syra. And I took a café au lait, a flat white, let's say, and it was amazing. It was extremely expensive, but it was amazing. I was like, fuck, this objectively, it's better than any other coffee with the same price there, which is $5.50 for a flat white. But if in terms of comparables, it was the same price than a normal coffee. I just began like consuming specialty coffee at home because it was too expensive there. So I was doing my studies in Paris, and I'm from Barcelona. Even if my name doesn't sound like super Spanish, I'm from Barcelona. So every time I was coming back in the summer in Barcelona, I was just looking at the pioneers, right? Like Seitan's, Right Side, Nomad, etc. And I was missing something. So, like, my idea was super simple. Let's try to make this coffee like affordable, not only on the price, but on the space too. Let's build a place that is not intimidating, and let's try to democratize this drink. Okay. I found like a super small location. I built it with my best friend, which is called like Thomas, architect too, from my same promotion. We built the first coffee shop in a street called Syra. This was in 2015. Syra, that's why the name, Syra. And it worked. So it was like no business plan, no nothing. It was like, let's try to serve this. Let's try to save as much as possible on the like capex, on the initial investment of the place. Like we did everything but ourselves. With the first machine, it was, I mean, a little bit shy to say this, but it was a Wallapop machine, like we bought like in Wallapop.
Second hand.
We changed, of course, or fourth or fifth hand, really.
Oh yeah. Which machine was it?
It was, the first one was a Rancilio, but then we switched like on the first week with a De La Corte Super Mini, a first one that was shaking every single shot. That was, I mean, it was an amazing machine. I still have it at home. And this is how Syra has been founded. So this was our first step. Then it lasted 2 years. Then I came back from Paris, like definitely. And so that we had the potential, no? We had the potential of building similar places in other neighborhoods with the same role of being like the reference like point of good coffee in neighborhoods. We started in Barcelona and then we moved to other cities in Spain.
Yeah, but that happened much later. I remember coming to your very first shop on Syra, and I always put 2 and 2 together, assuming that it came from the name of the street, Syra. But I also thought maybe it's a rearrangement of your own name, Yassir.
It was. It's an anagram of my surname, which is Rais, Rais.
True, yeah.
Sí. So there's like...
There's
and I
so many in
changed-
there.
Sí, and I changed like the E with a Y because my name is Yassir. I mean, what was funny is that people assumed it was like Syria Coffee from Syria, which is like, no, just read the
Interesting.
name.
Yeah.
So,
It's almost there, but it's missing
sí,
a letter.
sí. But also because of my skin tone or whatever. So
Well, your name is
it's
more
Moroccan, sí.
It's Moroccan, right?
Sometimes I say like half Moroccan, but no, I'm fully Moroccan, fully Spanish, fully French.
Yeah,
Let's say.
that's the times we live in, right?
Sí.
People are, and that's what I love about being here in Barcelona. And you know, for me, growing up in Toronto, these were the cities that I was the most attracted to because of this multicultural aspect. You could meet people with influence and backgrounds from so many different places, and it really does add another dimension
Sí.
to your interactions and, you know, into the city life and obviously food, flavors. And, you know, maybe you could speak to this more. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe influenced as well your design and taste
Absolutely.
in architecture and things like that.
I mean, we could talk hours about this, but for me, there's like a thing. I mean, I'm a second generation immigrant. I mean, my both parents came from Casablanca, from Morocco. So what is sure is that like one of the reason I built it was like just because of this effort culture they just they teach me, right? In terms of design, I think it's a mix of like everywhere. I mean, the thing too of Syra, it was we tried to build something that was had their roots, its roots in Gracia and Barcelona, but at the same time, when you see it, for example, on Instagram, you don't really recognize from where we are really, which is like it was important for me because coffee is not a drink or specialty coffee that has born in Barcelona really. Mm-hmm. So the thing is just mixing everything.
Right, exactly. So humble beginnings, starting on Siracusa, Gracia. Did you ever have it in your mind that you might grow to this level now? I mean, you have many locations around Barcelona. How many locations now in Barcelona?
In Barcelona, we have 19 locations.
19. Sí. And then also Valencia?
In total, we have 43. We have 19 in Barcelona, 10 in Madrid, 4 in Valencia, 4 in Donostia, 3 in Sevilla, 2 in Girona, and 1 in Malaga.
Oh, wow. Really spreading out across Spain.
And all of them have been designed here. All of them have coffee roasted from here. All the baristas are on the same payroll here. Yeah. Didn't franchise. Like every single store is unique.
Oh, wow. I have to say congratulations.
Thanks.
Especially, you know, for me coming from the very beginning, seeing where you came from and obviously exactly. the passion and dedication that you put into it. The question that I always have is like, what was that moment where you went from having one shop? I know you tested out a second shop, and then that one you had to make an executive decision that didn't quite work. And then all of a sudden, you know, I went away traveling for a few years, and I came back, and it was another level. So what was it that pushed you over that edge into the next phase?
Look, the mission, so the same mission we had like with the first shop. I mean, we didn't have like a business plan, but the mission was very clear, right? It was try to spread this product as much as possible and trying to connect as much as possible the producers we work with the final customer, right? Trying to elevate every single link on that chain from farm to cup, which is easy to say, but if you see this, I mean, it only happens with growth. So the thing is, growth in general. So trying to help more like a producer, you can help them more if you grow. Trying to help a barista more, it will help him if you grow, and more the customer too, because you can just spread this product. So like this growth on the last 3 years are like really happened like on different steps. The first one was Barcelona. I mean, then we had of course a business plan. It was trying to find similar situations we had like in Gracia. And Gracia is and was like a melting pot of not only cultures, but of peoples, of classes, of everything. So second location was in Pobla Sec, in a street called Margarit, just with the corner with Play, which is like a part of Pobla Sec that was not gentrified at that moment. Another with El Clot, Sands. It was to find different locations because our thoughts, and this is the same that we have now, it's like this coffee could be drank by everyone. Let's build spaces that are welcoming and that really reflects the neighborhood we are in. We never took, for example, like a white blank space. Like there's always space with a kind of soul where we reutilize something, right? Like the first year, let's say like 2020 and 2021 was Barcelona. Then when we thought there's no more space for Barcelona, we began in 2020 with the COVID online, and we had like a lot of recurring customers around Spain. So for us, this data, in terms of just seeing where these coffee are going, just allowed us to know, okay, we should open here and there.